Speak your way to success. Ace your English job interview. Introduction. Imagine you have a job interview for a job you really want. You have the right skills and experience, and you are very excited. But then, a small voice in your head says, "It's an interview in English." Suddenly, your stomach feels tight. You worry about finding the right words, about being understood, and about losing this great chance because of language. This is a common feeling. A job interview is important, and when English is used, it can feel like an extra, difficult step. You might feel more pressure, less sure of yourself, and wonder if you can really do well. Many good people feel this way. They have a lot to offer, but everyday English is different from the English you need to impress in a job interview. Interview English is more formal. You need special words to talk about your skills, and you must speak clearly and with confidence, even when you are nervous. This is not because you are not talented. It is often because you don't know how to show your talent well in English during an important talk. If you are afraid of making mistakes, not understanding questions, or sounding less professional than you are, it can stop you. When this happens, good jobs can be lost, and your career may move slower. But what if there was an easy way to fix this? What if you could go to that English interview feeling ready and sure of yourself? This book will help you do that. It is based on one simple but strong idea. To do well in a job interview, especially when you need to use English, you must practice. You should practice common questions, learn special words for your skills, and build confidence to show yourself in the best way. This means we will not just hope for good results. We will make a clear plan. We will look at the questions you will likely hear and practice how to answer them. We will help you learn new words, so you can talk about your skills and experience using the exact words that impress people who are hiring. And most importantly, we will work on making you feel more confident, because when you feel good about yourself, you will speak much better. By following this plan, you can change your interview experience from one that causes stress to one that leads to success. This brings us to the main point of this book: interview English skills. Think of this as your special ability for job interviews. It is not just about speaking English, it is about speaking English in a way that is clear, confident, and professional, just for interviews. It means people understand you easily, you show you believe in yourself, and you use the right words to talk about your strengths. It means you sound polished and capable, and you can handle any question asked. Interview English skills is like a bridge that connects your qualifications to what the interviewer sees in you. It helps you stand out from other people applying for the job. This book is here to help you build and master this important skill. When you finish this book, you will have a clear plan for preparing for any job interview in English. You will learn practical ways to feel more confident and speak with certainty. You will learn important words and phrases for your job and skills that will impress interviewers. We will go over common interview questions and how to answer them in a way that makes a strong impact. You will also get advice on how to handle difficult questions and unexpected moments. Our goal is to help you show yourself in the best possible way, making a good impression that lasts, and finally, helping you get the job you want. The way to your next career opportunity starts here. Let's start building your interview English skills and speaking your way to success. 1. Getting ready for your interview. Getting ready for a job interview in English can seem like climbing a very tall mountain, especially if English is not your first language. But think about this. You have spent many days getting ready. You know exactly what to say. When you walk into the interview room, you feel calm and ready. You speak clearly. You understand every question. You show that you are the best person for the job. How does that feel? That is what we want you to feel. This part of the book will help you build a strong base, so you can go to your interview feeling sure of yourself, knowing you did everything you could to do well. We will look at the simple steps you can take now to make your interview English skills as strong as possible. Let's start with the first, and maybe most important, step. Know who you are talking to. Before you even think about what to say, you must understand who they are and what they want. Think of it like planning a trip. You would not leave without knowing where you are going, right? It is the same for an interview. So, what does know who you are talking to really mean? It means learning a lot about the company and the exact job you want. Start with the company's website. Look for the page called About Us. What is their main goal? What do they believe in? What are their values? These are not just words. They show you what the company is like. Are they focused on new ideas, helping customers, protecting nature, or something else? Knowing this helps you see if you fit in and if your own beliefs match theirs. Next, look at their recent news or announcements. Have they started a new product? Opened a new office? Won an award? This shows you know what is happening now and are really interested in their work. It also gives you good things to talk about in the interview. You can say something like, "I was very impressed to read about your company starting work in Europe," or "I am excited about your work to create eco-friendly solutions, as shown in your latest report." Now, let's talk about the job description. This is your most helpful tool. Read it carefully, not just once, but many times. Mark the main duties and the skills they need. What words keep showing up? Words like working with others, solving problems, talking well, leading others, or special job skills. These are the exact things the interviewer will listen for when you talk about what you have done. When you learn about the job, try to imagine yourself doing it. What hard things might you face? What projects would you work on? Who would you talk to? The more you can see yourself in the job, the better you can get ready with answers that show you understand what is needed and are ready to do it. This learning is not just about remembering facts. It is about understanding the situation. It helps you change your answers so they directly say what the company needs. When you can link your skills and what you have done to the company's goals and the job's needs, you show them you are not just looking for any job, but this specific job. This kind of preparation makes your interview English skills much better, because you are not just speaking English, you are speaking English about them in a way that they understand and like. Once you know the company and the job well, it is time to focus on the most important part of most interviews, the questions. Many interviews ask similar things. Knowing these common questions is like having a secret guide to success. You do not want to be surprised and not know what to say. Instead, you want to have good, well-prepared answers ready. Let's look at some of the most common questions at interviews. First, the classic, "Tell me about yourself." This is not a chance to tell your whole life story. It is your chance to give a short, professional summary of who you are, what you do, and why you are a good fit for this job. Think of it as a short, interesting introduction. You can start with your current job or your most useful past experience, mention a key skill or something you did well, and then connect it to why you want this job. For example, "I am a dedicated marketing person with 5 years of experience in online ads, especially with social media. In my last job, I helped increase customer interest by 30% for a new product, and I want to bring that same focus on results to company name." Do you see how it is focused and fits the job? Then there is why do you want this job? Or why do you want to work for our company? This is where your research helps. Link your skills and what you want in your career to what the company offers and what the job needs. Do not give general answers like it looks like a good chance. Instead, be specific. "I have been watching company name S new work in clean energy for a while, and I am especially interested in this job because it lets me use my skills in managing projects for work that truly helps the environment." I believe my experience and mention a specific skill will be useful in reaching the goals written in the job description. Another common question is about your strengths. Do not just list words. Choose one or two strengths that are most important for the job and give a short example of how you have used them. For instance, if solving problems is a key skill for the job, you could say, "One of my main strengths is solving problems. In my last project, we had an unexpected technical issue that could have made us late. I took the step to look at the problem, think of solutions with the team, and put a fix in place that kept us on time and within our budget." This shows, instead of just saying it. And then comes the hard one. What are your weaknesses? The best way to answer this is to be honest, but smart. Choose a weakness that is not a big problem for the job and, most importantly, show how you are trying to make it better. For example, instead of saying "I am not good at speaking in front of groups" if you are applying for a sales job, you might say, "In the past, I sometimes found it hard to let others do tasks because I wanted to make sure everything was done perfectly. However, I have learned how important it is to trust my team and have been actively working on my ability to give tasks to others by setting clear expectations and giving helpful advice. This has led to better teamwork." This shows you know yourself and are trying to improve. Getting ready with answers to these common questions is a main part of building your interview English skills. It is not just about knowing the English words. It is about knowing how to put your thoughts in order, say them clearly, and make them important to the interviewer. This process helps you guess what the interviewer might ask and how you can answer in a way that shows your best qualities. Now, let's talk about the special tools you need in your talking toolbox, your words. To truly impress in an interview, you need more than just basic English. You need the right words to talk about your skills and what you have done. This is where building your skill words comes in. Think back to the job description you looked at. Did it mention thinking skills? Managing customer relationships? New ways of working? These are important words. You need to understand what they mean and, more importantly, have English words and phrases ready to say how you have them. If the job needs good talking skills, you can say more. Instead of just saying "I talk well," you can talk about talking and writing clearly, explaining difficult things in a simple way, listening well, or building good relationships with customers. Each of these phrases adds more detail and sounds more professional. In the same way, if the job needs someone with leading skills, you can talk about getting a team excited, giving tasks to others well, making important decisions, teaching newer workers, or making projects successful. These phrases paint a much clearer picture than just saying "I am a leader." How do you build these words? Start by making a list of the skills mentioned in the job description. For each skill, think of related English words and phrases. You can use online dictionaries, word finders, or even job sites like LinkedIn to see how others talk about similar skills. Look at the profiles of people who have jobs you want. How do they talk about their experience? It is also helpful to create skill sentences. These are short sentences or phrases you can use to describe what you can do. For example, if the job needs managing projects, a skill sentence could be, "I have successfully managed projects with different teams from start to finish, making sure they were finished on time and within budget." This process of building your skill words directly improves your interview English skills. It lets you go beyond simple statements and say what you can do with accuracy and confidence. When you use special, professional words, you show not only your English skills, but also that you understand the professional world and the specific needs of the job. It shows you are not just able to speak, you are clear and know what you are talking about. All the preparation in the world will not help if you cannot actually say the words. That is why practicing makes you good and sure of yourself is so important. You need to practice saying your answers out loud again and again. This is where the real change happens, turning your well-thought-out answers into smooth, confident speaking. Just thinking about your answers in your head is not enough. Your mouth, your tongue, your brain, they all need to get used to forming the English words and sentences. When you say your answers out loud, you start to notice where you stop, where you make mistakes, or where a sentence sounds strange. This is very useful information. The best way to practice is to actually talk to someone. If you have a friend, family member, or coworker who speaks English well, ask them to do a practice interview with you. They can ask you the common questions, and you can practice giving your prepared answers. Afterwards, ask them for their honest thoughts. Did you speak clearly? Was your speed good? Did you sound sure of yourself? If you do not have someone to practice with, do not worry. You can record yourself. Use your phone or computer to record your voice as you answer the questions. Then listen back. It might feel a little odd at first, but it works very well. You will hear your own voice, your tone, your speed, and any extra words you might use like or You can then work on using fewer of these and making your speaking clearer and smoother. Another great way to practice is to use the STAR method for questions about past actions. STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result. Many interviewers will ask questions like, "Tell me about a time you faced a challenge." You can use the STAR method to structure your answer. Situation, explain the situation you were in. Task, say what you needed to do. Action, tell what you did. Result, share what happened because of what you did. Practicing your STAR stories out loud will make them sound natural and interesting. For example, if you were asked about a time you worked in a team. Situation, in my last job at XYZ company, we were working on an important project for a customer with a very short deadline. Task, my job was to lead the design team to create the final pictures for the customer's presentation. Action, I set up daily short meetings, so everyone knew what was happening, gave specific design tasks to people based on their skills, and gave regular helpful feedback to keep things moving. I also made sure to tell the project manager about any possible problems right away. Result, because of this, the design team finished the good pictures 2 days early, which the customer was very happy with, and it helped us get another contract later. This kind of practice builds not just how well you speak, but also your confidence. When you have practiced your answers many times, they become more automatic. You do not have to think as hard to find the right words. They come to you more easily. This better speaking ability and confidence are very important. 2. Speaking English with confidence. It is normal to feel nervous when you must speak English in a job interview. It is like standing on a stage and everyone looks at you, waiting for you to say something perfect. Many people feel this way. You are not alone. This feeling often comes from a fear of making mistakes, of not being understood, or of not being good enough. But here is a secret. That nervousness? It often means you care a lot about this chance. It shows you want to do well, and that is a good place to start. Instead of seeing this worry as a weakness, let us see it as a sign that you are committed. Being sure of yourself when speaking English in an interview is not about speaking perfect English from the start. It is more about being ready and knowing how to show yourself. Think of it like getting ready for a big talk at work. You would not just go in and hope for the best, right? You would plan, you would practice, and you would feel more sure of yourself because you know what you want to say. The same is true for your interview English. Confidence grows when you know you have done the work. So, how do we get ready? The best tool is practice. And I do not just mean reading common questions. I mean doing practice. One great way is to do practice interviews. Find a friend, a family member, or a mentor. Ask them to pretend to be the interviewer. Have them ask you the questions you might hear. The more you do this, the more comfortable you will become with talking. If you cannot find someone, try recording yourself. Yes, it might feel a little strange at first, but watching yourself can help a lot. You can see where you pause too much, where your sentences are not clear, or where you could sound more excited. Another important part of getting ready is writing down answers for the most common questions. Think about the ones everyone asks. Tell me about yourself. Why do you want this job? Or what are your strengths? Write down your answers. Then read them out loud. Do not try to memorize them word for word, because that can sound like a robot. Instead, use your written answers as a guide, a strong base. This way, you know the main things you want to say, and you can say them in a natural way. This practice helps with the fear of being asked something unexpected. When you have already thought about and practiced your answer to tell me about yourself, you are not starting from nothing, you are using something you have prepared. Remember the important words and phrases we talked about before, the ones about your skills and your work area? Now is the time to really practice using them. Do not just know the words. Try to use them in your practice answers. For example, if you are talking about a project, try to use words like managed, developed, put in place, or worked with others. This makes your answers sound more professional and shows the interviewer that you know the language of the business. But here is a very important point. Focus on being clear, not on using difficult words. It is always better to say something simple and clear than to try a big, hard sentence that might confuse you or the interviewer. Your goal is to get your message across well. If a simpler word or sentence helps you do that, use it. This is a main part of building your skill in speaking English for interviews, making sure your message is understood. Besides just the words, we need to talk about how you think during the interview. It is easy to get stuck thinking, am I good enough? Or is my English bad? This kind of thinking takes away your confidence. We need to change this thinking. Instead of focusing on what you do not have, start focusing on what you can give. What skills do you have? What experience makes you a good fit? What can you bring to this company that will help them? Think about the value you bring. This is a powerful change in how you think. It moves you from a place of fear to a place of strength. Thinking good things about yourself is a simple but good way to help. Before your interview, tell yourself things like, I am ready, I have good skills, or I can share my ideas. Even if you do not fully believe it at first, saying these things can start to change how you think inside. Seeing yourself succeed in your mind is another great tool. Imagine yourself in the interview, speaking clearly, feeling calm, and talking with the interviewer. See yourself answering questions with confidence and leaving the interview feeling proud of yourself. This practice in your mind can greatly lower worry and make you feel more able to use your English well. Think of the interview not as a scary test where you might fail, but as a conversation. It is a two-way street. The interviewer wants to learn about you, and you want to learn about the job and the company. When you see it as a conversation, it feels much less scary. You are not just answering questions, you are sharing information and building a connection. This way of talking helps you relax and speak more naturally, which in turn makes your English flow better. Now, let us talk about something that is as important as your words: how you hold your body. How you stand and sit can send strong signals of confidence, even before you speak. How you move without speaking is a big part of how we talk, and it can either help your English or hurt it. When you are nervous, you might slouch, not look people in the eye, or fidget. But we can use our body to show confidence, which can actually help you feel more confident. Looking the interviewer in the eye is important. It shows you are paying attention, you are honest, and you are confident. Try to look the interviewer in the eye when they are speaking and when you are speaking. You do not need to stare, but natural, steady eye contact makes a big difference. Sitting up straight, with your shoulders back, shows you are alert and sure of yourself. It makes your body open and makes you seem more ready and able. Do not cross your arms, as this can sometimes look like you are defensive or not open. Using natural hand movements can also make you more lively and confident. If you do not move your hands much, try to let them move a little as you speak, as they would in a relaxed talk. This can make you seem more energetic and interested. And do not forget the power of a smile. A real smile can help you relax, build a good feeling with the interviewer, and make you seem more friendly and confident. These signals without words work with your spoken words. When your body says "I am confident," it makes the message you are trying to send with your English stronger. Even if your grammar is not perfect, it helps create a good overall feeling of being good at speaking English for interviews. What happens if, even after all your practice, you make a mistake? It will happen. Everyone makes mistakes, even people who speak English as their first language. The important thing is not to let a small mistake ruin your whole interview. Instead, learn to handle it well. Interviewers are people. They know that interviews are stressful and that English might not be your first language. They are often more understanding than you think, especially if you show you can recover. If you say the wrong thing or use the wrong word, a simple phrase can help. You can say, "Excuse me, what I meant to say was," and then say your corrected sentence. Or, "Let me say that again." This shows you know what you said and can fix it, which is a sign of being mature and good at talking. Another option is, "I'm sorry, can I say that again?" Or, "Let me try that again." These phrases are polite, clear, and help you get back on track quickly. The important thing is to take a breath, fix it calmly, and keep going. Do not focus too much on the mistake or say sorry too many times, as this can draw more attention to it and make you feel less confident. By handling mistakes with calm, you show you are strong and can communicate well, which are important for any job. Let us go back to those questions about thinking. What are the most common fears people have about speaking English in interviews? One big fear is not understanding the question. You might worry that the interviewer will ask something difficult, and you will just freeze. Another is the fear that your accent will not be understood, causing confusion. There is also the fear of not sounding professional enough, or that your language skills will make you seem less able than other people who want the job. How do our ways of helping deal with these? Fear of not understanding the question. Practicing mock interviews and listening carefully when you prepare helps you get used to different ways of asking questions. If you do not understand a question in the real interview, you can politely ask for it to be repeated. "Could you please say that again?" Or "Could you explain that in another way?" This is much better than guessing. Fear of accent being misunderstood. While we cannot change an accent quickly, focusing on speaking clearly and at a normal speed, not too fast, helps a lot. Practicing your answers out loud, as we talked about, helps you find words you might say wrong and work on them. Remember, most employers care more about what you say than how you sound, as long as your message is clear. Fear of not sounding professional. This is where practicing your main answers and using the right words comes in. Writing down answers helps you choose more professional ways to say things. Focusing on being clear, not difficult, means your message will be understood, which is the most professional thing you can do. And as we have seen, how you hold your body and a confident attitude also help you sound professional. Besides just practicing questions, what are the best ways to practice speaking English for an interview that build real confidence? Not just memorizing. It is about being involved and using what you learn. First, acting out situations that are more than just questions and answers. Instead of just answering "Tell me about yourself," try to have a short talk about it. Imagine the interviewer asks another question. How would you continue your answer? This practice makes you more flexible. Second, explaining difficult ideas in a simple way. Choose a skill you have or a project you worked on, and try to explain it to someone who knows nothing about it, using only simple English. This helps you get better at breaking down information and talking clearly, which is an important skill in any interview. This is directly linked to being good at speaking English for interviews, the ability to make yourself understood. Third, listening and getting advice. If you are doing practice interviews with someone, ask them for specific advice on your English. Was it clear? Did they understand what you were saying? Were there any words you used many times that could be different? This specific advice is very helpful. And last, focus on thinking in English. Try to tell yourself what you were doing during the day in English in your head. When you are doing something, think about the steps in English. This slowly makes English feel more normal and less like a foreign language you have to change into. When you are more comfortable thinking in English, speaking it in an interview becomes less like changing words and more like naturally sharing your thoughts and what you can do. This deeper practice is key to building lasting confidence. By getting ready in an active way, changing your thinking from doubt to knowing your value and understanding that confidence is built by constant practice and believing in yourself, you can change your interview English from something that worries you to something that helps you. You are not just learning to speak English, you are learning to speak your way to success. Now that you are building the confidence to speak, let us learn how to clearly and strongly explain what makes you special and why you are a good choice. 3. Practicing common questions. Think about your last job talk. Was it in English? If yes, how did you feel? Maybe a little worried, like you were walking on a thin rope with words? This is normal, especially when English is not your first language. But here is a secret. Even people who have spoken English their whole lives get worried and get ready for talks. For us, getting ready is even more important. It is not just about knowing the job. It is about knowing how to talk about the job in a language that might feel a little hard. This is where your interview English skills truly show how good you are. It is your skill to speak clearly, use the right words, and feel good about what you are saying, even when you are a bit stressed. And the best way to build that skill? Practice, practice, practice. Imagine you are learning to play a music instrument. You would not just pick it up and expect to play a big song, right? You would start with simple notes, then practice songs and slowly build up. An English job talk is much the same. There are common songs, if you like, that interviewers often play. These are the questions they ask almost every person. If you know these questions and have practiced your answers, you will feel so much more at ease. It is like having a map before you start a trip. You know where you are going, and you are not surprised by the turns. Let us look at why these common questions are asked. They are not just random. Each one is a little window into who you are as a possible worker. Take the common one. Tell me about yourself. This is not an invitation to share your life story, from your first steps to your favorite ice cream taste. The interviewer wants to know what is important for the job. They are listening for your work journey, your main skills, and why you are a good fit for this specific job. They want to get a quick, clear picture of your work background. Think of it as your short, strong talk that makes them want to hear more. Then there is what are your strengths. This is your chance to show what you do very well. But it is not enough to just say, I work hard. You need to give an example. What makes you work hard? Maybe you always finish work on time, or you do extra to help your team. Connect your strength directly to what the job needs. If the job needs someone organized, talk about your organization skills and how you use them. And the other side. What are your weaknesses? This can feel hard, can't it? Nobody likes talking about what they are not good at. But interviewers ask this to see if you know yourself. Can you see areas where you can get better? More importantly, are you doing something about it? A good answer is not about pretending you have no weaknesses. It is about being honest and showing how you are working to get better. For example, you might say, "Before, I sometimes found it hard to give tasks to others because I wanted to make sure everything was perfect. But I have learned that trusting my team and sharing the work leads to better results for everyone. I have been practicing giving clear instructions and checking in often, which has made our team work much better." You admit a challenge, but immediately show how you are fixing it. This shows you are growing and mature. Why are you interested in this job? And why do you want to work for our company? These questions are all about why you want the job. Interviewers want to know if you have done your research. Do you understand what the job is about? Are you excited about what the company does or its products? Simple answers like "I need a job" or "it looks like a good company" will not work. You need to show real interest. Research the company. Look at their website, their recent news, their social media. Find something specific that attracts you and mention it. Maybe you like how they care about the planet, or you are impressed by a project they finished recently. This shows you are not just looking for any job, you are looking for this job. Another common one is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? This question helps the interviewer understand your career goals and if they match what the company can offer. It is also a way to see how ambitious you are and if you plan to stay long-term. Again, be honest, but also think about how your dreams fit within the company. If you want to become a team leader, and this job is a step to that, mention it. It shows you are thinking ahead and want to grow. Now, how do you practice answering these questions so you sound natural and sure of yourself, not like a robot? Reading words? This is where the magic happens. First, write down your answers. Yes, actually write them out. Use simple words, just like we are doing here. Do not use very hard words if you are not comfortable with them. The goal is to be clear. Once you have your answers written, start saying them out loud. Practice in front of a mirror. Watch your body. Are you looking into the eyes of your reflection for now? Do you look sure of yourself? Then try recording yourself. Listen back. Do you sound clear? Are you speaking too fast or too slow? Can you understand everything you are saying? This might feel a bit strange at first, but it is very helpful. You will notice small things, like saying too much or not speaking clearly. Next, practice with a friend or family member. Ask them to pretend they are the interviewer. This is where you get feedback right away. They can tell you if your answers make sense, if you sound sure of yourself, and if you are explaining things clearly. This kind of practice is very useful for building your interview English skills, because it is like a real interview. You are not just talking to yourself, you are talking to another person. A great way to answer questions about your past experiences, especially questions about how you acted in certain situations, like "tell me about a time you faced a challenge," is the STAR method. STAR stands for situation. Tell about the situation you were in. Ask. Explain the job you needed to do. Action. Tell the specific things you did. Result. Share what happened because of your actions. Let's say an interviewer asks, "Tell me about a time you had to work with a difficult coworker." Using STAR, situation. In my last job at previous company, we had to finish a project quickly and one person on. My team was often late with their work and did not talk to us well. Task. My job was to make sure our part of the project was finished on time and was very good, which meant I needed everyone, including this coworker, to do their part well. Action. I decided to talk to the coworker directly, not in an angry way, but to understand their problems. I asked if they needed any help or if something was stopping them from doing their work. We then agreed on a clear way to talk, with daily check-ins for updates, and I helped them break down their tasks into smaller, easier parts. I also made sure to say thank you when they did their work. Result: this way of talking helped them be on time more and communicate better. They started finishing their work on time, and the team works together much better. We finished the project on time, and the relationship with that coworker became much nicer. The STAR method helps you organize your thoughts and tell a clear, short, and strong story. It shows you can handle real-life work problems. Remember, the goal of practice is not to memorize answers word for word. That can make you sound stiff and not natural. Instead, practice helps you remember your main points, find the right English words to say them, and build the confidence to speak them smoothly. You want your answers to feel like a talk, where you are sharing your experiences and skills, not reading a speech. One of the most important things to remember is to make your answers fit the specific job you are applying for. A general answer might be okay for practicing, but for the real interview, you need to connect your skills and experiences to what the employer is looking for. Read the job description carefully. What skills are they highlighting? What problems are they trying to fix? Then think about how your own background can help with those needs. For example, if a job description says strong problem-solving skills, and you have an example of how you solved a hard issue, make sure to point that out. If the company values teamwork, share an experience where you worked well with others. This makes your answers fit and shows the interviewer that you are not just looking for any job, but you are a good fit for their specific needs. It shows your interview English skills by showing you can change your words and your message to fit the situation. Let's talk about a person named Maria. Maria was very good at her job, but English interviews made her hands sweat. She had practiced common questions in her head, but always got stuck when the interviewer asked them. She would forget her points, or the English words would get mixed up in her mind. She felt like her interview English skills were stopping her, even though she knew she could do the job. So she decided to get serious about practice. She found a friend, David, who spoke English as his first language and agreed to do practice interviews with her. First, Maria wrote down answers to questions like "Tell me about yourself," "What are your strengths and weaknesses," and "Why this job?" She used simple words, focusing on clear explanations. Then she practiced saying them out loud again and again. She recorded herself and felt a little embarrassed, but she kept going. When she practiced with David, he would ask the questions and Maria would answer. At first, her answers were slow, but David was patient. He would ask her to say things again if he did not understand, or he would suggest clearer ways to say something. He also pointed out when she sounded like she was reading. "Maria," he would say, "it sounds like you are reading. Try to make it more like you were telling me a story." Maria started to see a change. She began to guess what questions the interviewer would ask next. She learned to pause, think, and then answer clearly. She practiced using the STAR method for questions about her past actions, and it made her stories much more organized and impactful. She even started to feel a little excited before her practice sessions, knowing she was getting better. The next time she had a real interview, it was still scary, but it was different. When the interviewer asked, "Tell me about yourself," Maria did not panic. She took a breath and gave her practiced, yet natural-sounding, summary. She confidently described her skills and her excitement for the job. She used the STAR method to share an example of a challenge she overcame. By the end of the interview, she felt proud. She had spoken clearly, confidently, and well. She had shown her interview English skills not just by speaking English, but by speaking it with purpose and clarity. And guess what? She got the job. Her story is a strong reminder that practice turns worry into confidence. Learning these common questions is your starting point. But a truly great interview performance is more than just answering what is asked. It is about showing what makes you special. In the next part, we will look at how to use words in a smart way to talk about your special skills and what you have done, making your answers even stronger and more convincing. 4. Learning new words for skills. When you go for a job interview, you bring more than just what you've done. You bring the words you use. How you talk about your skills is like a bright light showing off your talents. If you pick the right words, the light is strong and clear. If you use general or unsure words, the light can be weak and blurry. This is where interview English proficiency really helps. It's about using clear words to show exactly how good you are. Think about this. If you want a job where you lead projects, just saying I can lead things is okay, but it doesn't tell the interviewer much. But if you say, I have a lot of experience in managing projects, including defining what the project is about, deciding how to use people and things, and handling possible problems, you are speaking a different language. It's the language of knowing what you're doing. You use special words that show you understand the job and have done it before. This is very important to make a good impression. It shows you are not just someone who can do the job, but someone who understands the job. So, how do we find these strong words for our skills? It starts with knowing your skills. Take a moment to think about the job you want. Read what the job needs very carefully. What abilities are they looking for? What tasks will you do? Make a list of your best skills that fit what the employer needs. Don't just think of big, general skills like talking well or solving problems. Think more deeply. What kind of talking? What kind of problems do you solve? For example, if the job needs someone who can handle unhappy customers, instead of just saying good at talking, you might think about skills like solving arguments, listening carefully, or calming down upset people. These are more specific and show you understand better how to handle tough times. Once you have your list of important skills, the next step is to find the best English words to describe them. One smart way to do this is to look at other job descriptions for similar jobs. Employers often use special words in their ads because those are the words they connect with the skills they need. If you see words like looking at information, planning ahead, or leading a team in many job ads for the kind of job you want, these are likely the professional words you should use. Keep a notebook or a computer file where you can write down these useful words and phrases. Don't be afraid to use online tools. Dictionaries help you understand meanings, but a thesaurus can be even more helpful. If you have a word like make, you can look it up and find other words like create, develop, produce, build, or plan. The best word depends on what you are making. If you are making a plan, plan might be the best choice. If you are making something, produce or manufacture might be better. Also, if you know you have a skill, but want a more professional sounding word, a thesaurus can give you good choices. For example, instead of good at, you might find skilled in, expert in, very good at, or experienced in. Websites for specific jobs and groups for people in those jobs are also great places to find words. If you want a job in technology, look at websites that talk about computer languages, making software, or computer systems. They will naturally use the special words common in that area. For jobs in marketing, look at blogs and articles about online marketing, advertising, or talking to the public. You will find words like SEO, planning what to share, making people know your brand, and managing campaigns. Let's look at some common skill areas and the kind of strong English words that can make you stand out. First, we have technical skills. These are skills that are specific to a certain job or business area, often learned through training or school. For example, if you want a job as a software maker, you might have skills in computer languages. Instead of just writing code, you can say you are expert in Python, skilled in making things with Java, or experienced with C++. Software and tools. You might be very good at using Adobe Photoshop for making pictures, very familiar with Microsoft Excel for looking at information, or a trained user of Salesforce for talking to customers. Technical ways of doing things. You could mention your experience in managing computer data, setting up computer safety, using cloud computer systems, or ways of working in teams that change quickly. These words are exact and immediately tell the interviewer how much you understand about the technical side. Next, think about soft skills. These are personal qualities that help someone get along well with other people. While they can sometimes be harder to describe with exact words, there are powerful words to use. Talking. More than just good at talking, you can say you have excellent skills in writing and speaking, strong ability to give talks, or great skill in speaking in front of groups. If it's about listening, listening carefully is an important phrase. Solving problems. Instead of good at solving problems, you might say you have strong skills in thinking and looking closely at things, proven ability in finding the main reason for problems, or experience in creating new solutions. Working in teams. You could be a team player who works well with others, have experience in leading teams with different jobs, or be skilled at helping groups talk together. Leading. This can be said as shown ability to lead, proven success in managing teams, ability to encourage and inspire teams, or experience in making important decisions. Using these specific words for soft skills shows you understand the important details of these helpful abilities. Then, we have management and leadership skills. These are very important for jobs where you will be in charge of projects, teams, or departments. Project management. As mentioned, words like managing the whole project, defining what the project is about, staying on schedule, managing money, and talking to people involved are very important. Managing people. You might use phrases like managing how well people do their work, helping employees grow, finding new workers, solving disagreements within teams, or creating a good place to work. Thinking ahead. This includes planning for the future, looking at the market, growing the business, setting long-term goals, or looking at other companies. Finally, there are organizational skills. These are about how you manage your work and your time. Time management. You can say you have excellent time management skills, ability to decide what is most important to do, or experience in jobs with strict deadlines. Planning and organizing. Phrases like working in an organized way, making work processes better, deciding how to use what you have, or paying close attention to small details are very useful. Now, finding these words is only part of the job. The next, just as important step, is to learn how to use them in sentences that sound natural and confident. Just listing words won't impress anyone. You need to put them into your answers. This is where interview English proficiency goes from just knowing words to using them well when you feel stressed. Think about common interview questions. For example, tell me about yourself, or why are you a good fit for this job? These are chances to show your skills using the words you've learned. Instead of saying, I'm good with computers, you could say, in my last job, I was in charge of our company's computer systems. This meant managing computer networks, taking care of computer servers, and making sure information was safe. I am expert with different computer systems and fixing difficult computer problems. When asked about a time you had a problem, instead of saying, it was hard, but I figured it out, you could say, We had an unexpected issue with our customer records that could have stopped an important project. I started by finding the main reason for the problem, working with the technical team to figure out what it was. By solving disagreements well and talking clearly to everyone involved, we put in a solution that kept us on schedule and caused little trouble. This is where practicing becomes very important. You need to practice saying these sentences out loud. Record yourself. Listen to it. Does it sound natural? Does it flow well? Do you stumble over the words? If you do, you might need to make the sentence simpler or practice that specific part more. Let's look at an example. Sarah was trying to get a job as a marketing helper. She knew she had good skills, but her English felt a little too simple. She looked at what the job needed and saw words like creating content, managing social media, doing marketing campaigns, and checking how well things are working. Sarah's first thought might have been, I made posts for social media and wrote some articles. But with her new words, she could say, I have experience in creating content, making interesting posts for different social media sites. I am skilled in managing social media, including planning when to post things and talking to people who follow us. Also, I have helped with doing marketing campaigns, from planning to finishing, and I understand how important it is to check how well things are working to see what is successful and how to get better. Notice how much stronger and more professional that sounds. She's not just saying she did things. She's using the common words for that job to describe how she did them and how skilled she is. This directly improves her interview English proficiency by showing she can explain her abilities in a way that employers understand. It's also important to change your words to fit the specific job and business area. What sounds good for someone making computer programs might not be the right language for a nurse or a teacher. For example, a nurse might talk about patient care rules, giving medicine, checking body signs, or taking care of wounds. A teacher might use words like planning lessons, managing the classroom, testing students, or teaching in different ways. How can someone looking for a job find and check the professional English words used for their specific skills in the job area they want? One great way is to use online sites where professionals connect. Look at the pages of people who have the job you want, or who are in a similar job at companies you like. See what skills they list and how they describe their experience. This gives you real examples of the language being used. Another way is to search for blogs, magazines, or online classes for specific job areas. These sources often use the exact words common in that field. For example, if you are interested in money, reading articles on money news websites will show you words like managing money, spreading investments, checking risks, and planning money ideas. Don't forget company websites. Often, companies will have sections that explain their services or products, and the words they use there can show you a lot about the important skills and ideas they value. When you find a new word or phrase, don't just try to remember it. Try to understand what it means in the situation. Look for examples of how it's used in a sentence. Then practice using it yourself. Try to make your own sentences that describe your skills using these new words. Doing this is much better than just trying to memorize them. It's about building a set of tools. Every new exact word you learn is another tool you can use to clearly and confidently show your abilities. This process of learning and practicing skill-specific words is a main part of developing strong interview English proficiency. It's about going from just knowing your skills to being able to explain them in a way that makes an impact, making sure your interviewer clearly understands the good things you can bring. This careful preparation helps you shine, making it easier for them to see you as the right person for the job. Once you have learned how to use the right words to describe your skills, the next very important step is to put these powerful phrases into answers that make sense. This leads us to the very important practice of answering common interview questions with confidence and clarity, making sure your new words stand out. Conclusion: you have come to the end of our book. We have learned how to do well in English job interviews. Think back to when you started reading. Maybe you felt a little scared. You might have worried about finding the right English words. You might have doubted if you could make a good impression. Now, you are in a different place. We learned how to prepare well. We learned words that show how good you are. We learned how to feel sure of yourself. These are not just simple tips. They help you build something very strong, your interview English skill. This skill is more than just speaking English. It is using English in a smart, sure way when it is most important in the interview. It means you truly understand what the interviewer asks, even if they speak fast or use different words. It means you have the right words ready to talk about your past work and skills. This helps the interviewer see how good you are. It also means you show good energy. You show you are excited and a good fit for the job with your words and how you say them. Every time you practiced, every new word you learned, every time you tried to speak clearly, you built this important skill. Remember the questions we practiced? Answering them well means you can talk about your strengths and what you have done without stopping. Learning new words to talk about your skills helps you show you are not just able, but an expert. And the feeling of confidence you worked on? It lets your clear English and your great skills truly shine. All these parts make your interview English skill. It is the ability to talk well when you feel pressure. It is showing you are the right person for the job by speaking clearly and with belief. Being ready, as we talked about a lot, is the base for this whole skill. Now that you have these tools, the learning does not stop. Think of this as a new start. Keep practicing those common questions. Maybe practice with a friend. Make it a habit to learn new words about your work. Watch people who speak English well online. Listen to how they talk. Every chance to speak English is a chance to get better. If an interview does not go as you hoped, do not feel sad. See it as a chance to learn and improve. Your interview English skill will grow with every experience. It will open doors not just to this job, but to many more in your life. You have worked hard. You have made big steps. You now have the knowledge and plans to handle English job interviews much more easily and with more confidence. You are ready for the interview. Go forward with your new interview English skill. Speak your way to success. Many good things are waiting for you.